Hi, this is Laura GB, and today we're going to look at the key influencers visual in Power BI. So, we started with data which fits this visual really well. It's the Titantic data. We've got what class they were in, whether they're male or female, what their age, their ticket, their fare, whether they died or survived, and where they got onto the boat, where they embarked. So, let's move into the visuals report view. And the key influencers is this visual over here on the right. If we click on there, and I'm going to make it bigger. Fill the page almost. There we go. Right. What we want to know is what influences whether they survived or not. So the analyze is going to be survival. Okay. And if you look in the top left now, it says what influences survival to be died. Well, let's go for a bit more positive than that. Let's go for survived. So what influences whether they survived or not? So let's go for age, let's go for fare, let's go for class, let's go for gender. Okay, so we've got those 4 factors in there. And you can see in here immediately, we've got, if you're female, you've got a higher chance of surviving. If you hover over there, it'll explain it. So survival is 3.8 times more likely to be survived compared to all other values of sex. This influencer contains approximately 35.6% of the data. So we can see that did they pay more for their ticket? Were they in first class? Were they a child? Okay, so the 0 or less includes ones which we don't know their age. Okay, so there's lots of things in there to influence how that works. Top segments will show us the different parts of our data. So there's a 96.5%. If I click on that one there, it takes us into a slightly different view. So if they were in first class and female, they had a 96.5% of surviving. Okay, and it shows you here that it contains 144 data points, 11% of the data. And we can go through the various parts here. Now obviously the more data it includes, the more accurate it's going to be. So if it was only one line of data, then you would consider that to not be a good influencer. To show how much of the data is being shown on these, okay, we make sure we got the key influencer visual selected, and then go on to the formatting, and under analysis we can see enable counts, and if we turn that on and go back to look at the visual again, you'll see there's a little line around the edge of the circle that shows how much of the data was included in this. So that actually we've got the gender is quite a good chunk of the data, but actually fare isn't a good chunk of the data in any of these that involve the fare. Okay, apart from that one down the bottom. It's obviously something important in that particular range. So we might consider to take fare out of there. Okay, and if you do, go and take fare out. We get a simpler one, and it reanalyzes quite quickly to show us the split. Okay, so female, first class, or a child. Unlike other visuals in Power BI, the key influencers doesn't adjust other visuals. So if I add into here a card, let's make that a bit smaller, and let's put into there the index. Okay, now it's added it up. Just let me fix that for a moment. We don't want sum, we want count. So there we are, our 1,309 passengers. Now it doesn't matter where I click on this visual, that number stays the same. But it is affected by slicers on the same page. So let's add in a slicer. And let's add in where they got onto the ship. Okay. So some passengers we don't know, but we've got 3 other ports. So if they got on at Southampton, it takes a moment to run the analysis again. Their being female makes even more difference. Queenstown. Now, Queenstown, age was a big factor of the passengers from Queenstown. That actually there weren't any passengers that got on at Queenstown that were older than 37. And we can go through. An interesting thing here is if we go to the blank one, it only shows 2 passengers, and the key influencers visual says there's not enough data. So actually we need to have enough data for it to work out some patterns. So this is a categorical use of the key influencers. It is to decide whether it survived or died. And each one, if I go back to died, you'll see that sure enough, if you're male, in the 3rd class, or actually you're a child, you've got a pretty good chance of not surviving. So this was a quick introduction to the key influencers visual using categorical data of whether they survived or not on the Titanic. If you haven't already, please press subscribe. Take care now.